men today don't understand why they're a man. And they feel uncertain if they're a man.
What are some things you're doing that you feel like every dad should do?
Yeah. So once we started planning to have a kid, at least, we don't know if we're gonna have one, I've become really, and even a little bit before, I've become really excited about the milestones that are coming in the future. And so I haven't really done this yet, but one of the things I'm excited to do is gift giving at various milestones. And that's something I feel like
with your children?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's something I feel like is a strength of mine, or at least a way that it's my outgoing love language is giving gifts that I like. I just love giving gifts to people that I think are really unique and
That
they'll
fit
love.
them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Receiving gifts doesn't really do the same for me. I'm just like, oh yeah, cool. But I don't know. So whatever that, and in that same kind of vein is something I want to do, and I think fathers should be doing, is monumentizing or celebrating the milestones, and giving significance to them, because I brought this book from John Tyson.
I saw that, The Intentional Father. That's a good one.
And a lot of his influence comes from The Power of Moments.
Okay.
And I guess Man's Search for Meaning. A couple books I can name drop, but I haven't read.
Okay.
Anyway, so he talks a lot about how rites of passage have been lost, particularly in the West, but just kind of modern
culture.
Yeah. Men today don't understand why they're a man, and they feel uncertain if they're a man. If you take a large survey and you say, when did you become a man, or how do you know you're a man, it's going to be kind of random answers. So I don't know. I mean,
When I went to
I
college,
could start drinking or
Right.
vote
Got
or
a
try to
driver's
call it
license.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
So historically, rites of passage have been a boy on the cusp of manhood goes through this journey where he grows and discovers himself becoming a man. And a lot of examples were like really deadly, and it's good we don't do those things anymore. Like, all right, go kill a bear by yourself.
Go survive in the forest for a month.
Yeah. But some concerted effort of, okay, now that you're 12 going on 13, you've spent the first part of your life basically attached to your mom. Now you're going to kind of separate from her, and I'm going to teach you how to become a man. And it's going to be through a series of milestones that are meant to grow you, and when this is all done, you'll look back and say, I know I'm a man because to quote John Tyson again, he says, like, I've gone through the shifts, I've completed the ordeal, I know I'm a man because I've earned it. And not in some weird, like, earning salvation situation. This is more, it's important I feel, as a Brady father, I feel it's important for us to recognize these insecurities and the need for boys to be guided and shown specifically how they are to become a man, and how this is the difference between a boy and a man. And so anyway, I don't think I answered your question at all.
No, you did. So one of the things would be that you want to implement milestones
Yes.
into your son's life so that he doesn't wonder when he gets to 20,
Yes.
30, 40, am I a man? I guess I am. I guess I became a man randomly by just chance. Do you feel like growing up, did you get that experience of milestones, or do you feel like that was missing from your upbringing?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
I think I already described my dad as being an incredible example. But yeah, an area maybe of weakness was, or at least an area that I wish there was more of, was kind of signifying those milestones. So I say a little of both because they sort of happened organically. Because I think I was about 13 and my dad went on a deployment and I sort of stepped into a quasi man of the house, you know, helping out with little brothers and sort of trying to, you know, talk to my mom and comfort her and whatever I could, just help. And I didn't know I was doing that. But looking back, I felt like that there was a bit of a shift there. And then once you're 15, I think you can fly as an adult. That's a weird number.
Yeah.
But some things I remember wishing I had more distinct milestones for was like my first shave. The first time I shaved, I was staying with my childhood buddy. My dad was deployed, and my peach fuzz was just out of control. And so he got like a new razor out of the package. It was actually one of his mom's razors. It was like there's a women's like a leg razor, and that was the first time I shaved. Was at his house.
Yeah.
But that was something I wish I had with my dad. I wish I could look back and had that first shave with him. So that's kind of the one that stands out the most to me.
Yeah.
I actually did have my first drink with my parents in Germany when I was 18 because I was of age.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah.
So what milestones do you want to do for your son?
Okay.
Do you have some in mind already that you're thinking?
Yeah.
And do you have age? I know he recommends some ages in that book, but
Right.
What have you thought about in regards to that?
Definitely the shaving is there. And I think the thing is, I think my dad's done it, you know, with my younger brothers.
Has he? Okay.
But, you know, you get 3 more tries. So.
Right. That's right.
I'm not jealous. So
Maybe next time you go visit him, you should just say, like, you know, Dad, let's shave together.
That's funny. I actually did take him out for a straight razor shave for Father's Day.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And he taught me how to drive and everything. So that was another milestone. So I think about the shaving and learning to drive. Like, I want to do those things. And as a flight instructor, I want to teach my son how to fly. I think that'll be cool.
That would be cool, yeah.
You can start learning pretty much whenever. You can't get your student pilot certificate until you're 16, and you can't get your private until you're 17. So if in the future I have access to or can afford to have an airplane, in addition to teaching him how to drive, I'd love to teach my son how to fly.
That's cool.
I mean, that just seems like a given,
Yeah.
since I have the capacity.
Right. I know Dan's been doing that with his kids.
Yeah, you got to.
Yeah.
So shaving, driving, flying, vehicles. There's got to be camping, right? So maybe learning some basic survival skills. I'm no survivalist, but just
Start a fire.
stuff with fire
Yeah.
and yeah.
Build a tent or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So milestones. I think that's
Yeah.
a really great one. What other items have you thought about that you think have been positively impacting for your family, or you think every dad should do?
Basic, values I'd like to instill.
Okay.
Yeah, I think something else when it comes to instilling values, the things I think about are like, how am I going to handle extracurriculars or like sports, and how am I going to teach them about work, especially in light of my recent experiences and dating and finding a future wife. So Julie and I have talked about, okay, well, we want him to, maybe he's gonna play piano because Julie plays piano, so she can teach him piano because, maybe kids hate piano lessons, but it's a super versatile, great thing we think is probably important.
Yeah.
I'd love him to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because I love it and I think it's awesome.
Do you do that?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, I did it. I did it for a few years, and then I've been away. Didn't manage to do it while I was in Delaware, and now I'm back at the same gym I was at before, and I just love it.
That's cool.
It feels great when after I leave. I'm like, man, I'm so glad it just feels like it's fun.
Yeah,
It's good.
that's
Yeah,
great.
getting crushed and choked out. It's great.
You want your son to eventually join you in that.
But there's sort of a balance where we're like, okay, are we cool with wrestling, but we don't want him to like be a boxer, because training in fight sports versus like competing in fight sports, we're like, we don't want you to, get a bunch of TBIs. So we're kind of
Right.
anti putting him in football.
Or the MMA ring.
Right. But, you could spar, or you can learn how to defend yourself, but you don't need to go fight somebody to the death or to the KO.
For fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, don't get a brain injury over
Right.
enjoyment.
Yeah. So, reflecting on Julie's growth, Julie's childhood and my childhood, and how much we were compelled to, or I don't know what word I'm trying to use, but trying to find the balance between your parents not letting you quit something and allowing you to choose what you want to do.
Yeah, that is a hard choice.
Because
it's hard to see.
Yeah, because I feel a lot of like turmoil when I think about, I've done a lot of different things growing up, and it's easy to wish I'd stuck with one and gotten really good at it. But I also value all the experiences I had. And so I was a gymnast when I was young, like starting at age 5 or 6, and then I think I quit when I was 11 or 12, and I was kind of like, I don't think so. Like, I don't want that. I don't know why. That was just, and I mean, it was like 4.5 hours a day in the gym, 6 days a week. At the point that I quit, that was the commitment.
Wow.
For a preteen.
Right. It's a lot.
So I wanted to see my friends, and I wanted to play soccer again because I liked soccer, and that's why I quit. And that's fine. It's good that I quit, but I still have those imaginings of like, well, I could have gone to OU or like the Air Force Academy on a gymnastics scholarship, and it would have been great. I don't know. So what?
Right. But I guess you're wondering, like, for your own children, is it better that you got the opportunity to choose to not do that thing?
Right.
Or should your parents have just been like, no, you're going to keep doing this until you make it to the Olympics?
Yeah. And I feel like on the gymnastics front, I'm glad they didn't keep me in it, because I think I would have been pretty lonely. But then I did soccer, and then what frustrated me is in 7th grade, my middle school made me choose between soccer and band. I couldn't do both. How are you make a 12-year-old decide between sports and music? I just think that's not right. So if there's anything I can do to prevent that kind of fork in the road,
You feel like
I just
sports
feel
and
like
music
it's-
are both important.
yeah, and I think that's an unnecessary fork. So anyway, I chose band, did that 6th, 7th, 8th grade, and then quit band.
So I know you're early on in your fatherhood journey, but when you think about all those things, what do you intend to teach your children, future?
I don't know, I guess one aspect would be being versatile and active, multi-talented is valuable, provides you more options. Actually have to decide if you want to pursue any of those things later. And there's, age-old, countless examples of the values you can derive from team sports. Definitely more so than individual sports. Individual sports is more like, mental toughness and discipline, but team sports you get a lot of social skills and camaraderie and
Yeah, this is how you accomplish something together.
yeah,
Art.
and exactly, like the team is more important than the individual. Those are important values, and that was something that drew me to being in a flying squadron. It's like, this is a group of like-minded in terms of the mission, skill level, and I want to operate as a highly effective, at least.
So what is it? So you got a 4.5-month-old right now.
Yeah.
Right now, what are you doing with your 4.5-month-old? Because I know that a lot of babies just sit there.
Yep.
So what are you doing?
Just talk to him, smile at him a lot.
What is it?
I'm just like, hey Cooper, hey buddy. what's up? That's like our whole conversation. I love seeing him.
Do you hold
him
him?
smile? Hold him, yeah.
Does he play yet?
Yeah, he's starting to like grab it, put him in his mouth.
Yeah.
Like last night I was cooking and Julie was holding him in a chair and he just kept like looking over at me and smiling. And so I went over and picked him up and held him, he just like, that was like, that's the best. And like when he wakes up from a nap, or he's like, he sees your face and he's just,
Happy to see you.
yeah. Yeah, and we got all our family photos up on a wall in the entryway now, and we'll point out everybody the faces. He's like, you know.
Yeah.
That's mainly what the day consists of.
Yeah. What is it? What is it? Do you think that makes that so special? Like, what is it about a small child?
I guess, you know, it's like you imprint on them, right? You know, when it's just a part of you, and to them, like to Cooper, Julie, and myself, or like I recognize there's really never where someone's gonna look at you like that, and there's maybe not words for what you're experiencing. Lock eyes with them, there's nothing else, and then
No one else looks like.
and in the back of it, there's kind of the weight of I've got to raise him, and it's my responsibility to protect him, and you know, like we just moved his room, so I started realizing pretty immediately after he was born, or leading up to him being born, I was like, I don't like the location of his room. It's too close to the front door. We got it rearranged yesterday. I just like feel so much peace. Maybe that's a misplaced area of.
But in your mind, it's
Absolutely.
he's
Yeah.
too close to the front door. I wouldn't be able to get there in time.
Yeah, because it's
Whatever happened.
right. Because I don't love. We have like a brand new house. I don't love the floor plan. You open the front door, and his previous room was like right there. So now it's in a different place.
Yeah.
But
that was one of your ways to say, like, this is something I can do. At the very least, protective hat on, or like,
yeah.
apply what I'm saying. I want to put in. This is one way I can. Well, great. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks for letting me talk about myself for long periods of time. I don't do that very often.
That's good.